Hey guys, we're here back again. This time we are doing another guide running the top lane Darius here today. He is the new champ that came to Wild Rift pretty recently, and I was pretty excited to actually finally unlock him and play him quite a bit over the last day or two. And it's been fun. He is definitely a lot stronger than I was anticipating him to be, because I was actually maining the top lane Olaf for a while, and then I finally unlocked Darius, and I'm like, my god, this guy is good. I really feel like they're gonna hotfix him, so definitely if you have the time to play him now in ranked and you definitely want to grind up, he is a very strong, if not one of the strongest top lanes to rank with right now. But anyways, going forward, let's go ahead and go over his abilities, talking about his passive first, which is Hemorrhage, which kind of builds into everything else later on in his kit. And we get to kill? We did. Anyways, his passive Hemorrhage. So what it does is it applies a bleed to the targets that you hit, whether it's an ability or an attack. It applies that Hemorrhage up to 5 stacks, each stack doing a bleed damage, which I think is 30% of your attack damage, plus 12 for every stack. So it actually ends up being quite a bit of damage, and I can certainly secure a lot of kills with that bleed throughout all the matches that I've been through so far, and it's pretty good. Anyways, so that does that. When you finally get to your 5 stacks, it also gives you the Noxian Might, which increases your attack damage, as well as applying full stacks of Hemorrhage on any target that you hit going forward for 5 seconds. So it's really, really strong passive. Going into our first ability is Decimate. You've probably been seeing me spin around quite a bit. That is Decimate. It does damage in a circle, and it also applies your Hemorrhage as well. Going into the second ability is a auto attack reset. So basically what you want to do is you want to auto attack, go straight into your second ability, which resets the animation, allowing you to hit 2 times consecutively really, really fast, which is really, really crucial to maximizing your damage. It also applies a slow to the target that you hit as well. So, and then of course it gives you a stack of Hemorrhage. The third ability, as you saw just a moment there, was a pull, and that pull also does damage, provides a stack, and also slows down the target, just like your second ability. The final ability is your Guillotine, which is basically like Garen's ultimate, and it functions kind of similar actually, except that the extra damage that it does is based off of how many stacks of your Hemorrhage you have. And once you go into your Noxian Might state, that's truly when you want to use your Guillotine, because it does a buttload of damage, and it's true damage, so it ignores armor, so it's nasty. And if you do end up killing a champion with your ultimate, with the one ultimate, and they die, it actually resets that ultimate once again, having the Noxian Might effect on it, where if you kill another target with that resetted ultimate, it resets again. So you can see here where like Darius can be really, really strong in that regard. If you can kind of stack your abilities to do such a thing, it happens, and it's pretty brutal. Here I actually ended up kind of early with the ultimate, just because I want to get the damage out to secure the kill on the Olaf there. I actually probably could have tried to get full stacks, maybe, and then did my ultimate, and then potentially be able to take out Garen as well. But it was kind of iffy, and I wasn't sure how to go about doing that. The other thing I didn't touch on is actually the first ability, the Decimate. It does heal you too for the damage it's done, as long as you're hitting a champion. So that's also something, as you saw earlier when Garen was chasing me, I can spin around with my Decimate, hit a champion, and it actually heals me a little bit, and it heals you even more so for every target that's a champion that you hit. So it actually starts to be a pretty good survival tool in your kit in order to stay afloat. As far as items, what I tend to go is, as you can see here, let me see if I can remember the items here. Oh, there we go. It keeps going up and down. So basically, it's if you're going against a tanky character, you're going to want to go a Black Cleaver. If you're going against a non-tanky character, like maybe, I don't know, a Kali or Yasuo potentially, you want to go into the Triforce. That's pretty much the only difference, I think. From there, you want to go into your Death Dance, which does, in fact, prevent the damage from happening to you right away. It staggers that damage, which is really nice. And then you go into your boots, which I go the Glorious enchant with the Gluttonous Greaves. And then I also go into my Sterix Gauge, for defense, as well as Spirit Visage, especially if there's an AP carry in the team. And then I will go into a Guardian Angel as definitely my last item. And I believe that was all the items I go through. If I'm missing one, it will be in the below me here in the UI here for the video. That will be there for you guys to go ahead and check out and try it yourself. I'll put both builds, and I'll put an annotation saying if you're going against a tanky character, go this build. If you're going against a non-tanky character, go this build. So that way you guys can determine which build is best for you in the situation that you're currently in. So as far as what I try to do when it comes to my abilities is I definitely want to build my stacks as much as possible. A lot of times I'll bully with my first ability, my Decimate, and then once I start getting my second and third ability, I start to stack those as well on top of the combos. So typically to be like my first ability, I'll go in, start picking away slowly over time, and then when I'm ready to fully engage, I'll usually go in with a first ability, do the second ability after I do a basic attack, and then I will, typically that's when they start to run away. So then you pull them in with your third ability, and then go ahead and use your first ability again, and all throughout this entire process you want to do your basic attacks too. And because you're doing the second and third abilities consecutively stacked throughout the entire fight, they're going to be slowing for the majority of that fight. And then when they are at the 5 stacks for your hemorrhage, you're going to go ahead and pop off on your ultimate, and that is GG. So that is the rotation I typically do. Sometimes you can even go in without going with the first ability first. You can use that as a survival means. So like if you know you're going to be going in on a lot of targets, or like maybe it's a 1v2, what you typically want to do is, if you're not wanting to go with that rotation I just mentioned and kind of just slowly whittle them down first, and you want to just hard engage, especially if you have people coming up to help you, what you want to do is you want to actually wait to use your first ability, so you engage with just, you know, running in, doing a base attack, doing your second ability, pulling them back towards you, and then at that moment you want to pop off on your first ability because, well, it heals you, right? So you're definitely going to want to have that up in case you're going to be hit pretty hard. That way throughout the fight you can go ahead and heal immediately without like waiting on the cooldown for your first ability at the beginning of the fight. But I don't know, I think I just kind of just go with the flow, and what I need is I typically kind of go between both of those and see how it actually ends up working out. If I need the heal and I know it's going to be a pretty rough fight, then I'll do that second rotation. If not, then I think the 90% of the time I'm just doing the first ability first, and it's kind of like going in once they extend or I feel like an opportunity presents itself. So yeah, that is what I do. And with the Glorious Greaves, or the Glorious Enchant, excuse me, you can really hard engage too in some moments and really capitalize them on overextending or just catching out the ADC or the support or potentially even the mid laners. You want to focus on the squishy characters like most situations first. But if you do have an opportunity, you want to go ahead and take out whoever is just extended or just not making good plays. You want to, you know, make sure you capitalize on that regardless. It's just typically late game you want to be able to start focusing the carry, the whether it's an Ezreal or a Jhin or whatever, the ADC, you want to focus that guy because he's going to be able to basically maneuver around you and pick you off, especially if he realizes that you are the tank build, which Darius typically is, I've seen so far. He's going to go ahead and go into Mortals, and he's going to get some other armor shred, and it's going to be nasty against you. The one weakness I definitely have to say is somebody who has a lot of poke. So if you're going against a Garen, you're going against an Olaf, or even like a Nasus potentially, it should be a cakewalk. Nasus is a little iffy because he does have the ability to out damage you if he has an ultimate up, and he becomes extremely tanky. Even with that true damage, it's just not enough to take him down because you have to whittle him down first and then be able to get the execute off the ultimate, and that's not always the case with Nasus. So with him you have to be a little bit more careful, but with everybody else that's not range, you typically should be winning those matches. He's a really strong top lane. The only weakness I want to get into is like the range. So like a Vayne will definitely bully you pretty freaking hard, especially since she can get you off of her with her her third ability, which punts you away. I think it's her third ability, right? And basically she can kite you around until you're dead, and she more than likely is going to get armor shred, armor pen, and it's going to end up being a very, very tough match for you. As far as spells, I do go into Ignite and Flash. It's just it's a pretty standard one for someone who likes to go aggressive, having the Flash for mobility or escapes or engage even potentially, or you know the Ignite for that extra damage to tick as your bleeds are also doing damage to get them down enough to go ahead and execute with your ultimate. And then, you know, as a top laner, let's get into that now. From what I have done typically is that I stay in lane quite a bit because, you know, I feel like it's harder to rotate as a top laner when it's hold on, I'm trying to see what's going on here. There's like two people coming at me. But anyways, it's harder to rotate at times as a top laner, I feel, just for whatever reason. It just seems like there's less opportunities to rotate as I would say like mid lane, because mid lane can go either top or bot and can really capitalize on the overextensions on both those lanes, whereas top lane can really only, you know, hit up mid lane if possible, and so it becomes really difficult. The rotations I do have to do is when they come to the river, such as right now, you'll see me rush in to go ahead and try to help my teammates. That's what you want to do is when the jungler is getting the objective. When the jungler's coming up and you have teammates that are making rotations from mid lane, you want to go with them and try to take out the enemy there. So that way, once you push them, then you can start securing objectives, get the Baron, get the Dragon, so on and so forth. But early in the game, it's basically the lane phase. You're just farming up, getting the kills you can off your counterpart there in the top lane, Baron lane, if you will, and pushing down turrets as much as possible, applying pressure in your lane. If you are pushing in pretty hard, then at that point you can start to see if maybe you can pick up the scuttle in case your jungler's not getting to it, so that way if there is an opportunity for your jungler to gank, you already got the scuttle, the craft, and therefore he can rush in and help, you know, control your lane as well. And then if the scuttle's already down, or if you just want to ignore it, you can go ahead and gank mid lane at that point, especially if your lane's already pushed in. But yeah, and then the other thing too, this is not necessarily, you know, top lane, this is more Darius specific, but when you are in your Noxian state, you want to make sure that you are queuing, your first ability as much as possible in those team fights, because it applies the full stacks on everybody that you hit in that group, and it's brutal. But yeah, so just like any other role though, when you are seeing that the enemy is down, we had 4 people down right there on the enemy team, you definitely want to make sure you're taking advantage of that and getting your objectives, such as the Baron or the Rift Herald or the Dragon, whatever's up, you definitely want to secure, because that's going to just push your lead even further. As far as build order, when it comes to Darius, I sometimes go Guardian Angel a little early, so it depends. Like, I don't even know if this is like the best route of, you know, building my items, but like I'll typically go into my Black Cleaver or my Trinity Force first, and then from there I'll get my boots, at least get my Gluttonous Greaves for that lifesteal. I may not even go the Glorious Enchant yet, and then I'll go rush right into Guardian Angel if I'm doing really, really well, because I don't really need the extra damage because I'm doing fine to begin with. And then, so by getting the Guardian Angel early, it allows me to just solidify that lead, because even if they happen to take me down, I have Guardian Angel early, so that way they're not getting the kills off of me and starting to feed and catch up, especially if I'm starting to get a lead. So like when you are fed and you have a bounty, it can be the make or break. If you die, say I was 6-0 and I die and I give it to like the ADC, that is so much gold. He's going to take that gold and get a full item, and he's going to be back into the game, and he's going to start he's going to start to be the bane of your existence. So you want to protect your bounty, basically, is what I'm saying. You want to make sure that you're not just dying, you know, without a cause, because that death can mean so much. And so that's why I sometimes go Guardian Angel early. If I'm feeling very confident and I just want to push my lead even further, and I don't think I'm gonna die. Like, I could ignore Guardian's Angel a little bit later and just go like my Death Dance right away, or you know, the Spirit Visage is even good too, but typically I'll go Guardian Angel over Spirit Visage any day. The extra heal off of Spirit Visage is nice. It kind of stacks well with Darius because he has the heals and such, but yeah, so it's either, second item is either your Death Dance or your Guardian Angel. Typically, I would say the safest bet would be Guardian Angel, to be honest. But Death Dance is a pretty solid second item pick too. But definitely, I would say get Guardian Angel third. I know the order on the build is different, but just keep that in mind. You could go final item Guardian Angel, but like I feel like it has more benefit to you if you get it earlier on, so that way it actually gets more uses out of it throughout the match. But yeah, so, and then as a top laner, of course, you always want to push your lane in, apply the pressure in your lane. That way, for instance, if they're going in objective and you're pushing your lane, it forces someone to come off that objective to address that lane. Just like any role, that's primarily what you want to do, is have somebody doing that, and the top laner tends to be one of those people. It's either the bot laner or the top laner pushing. I think top laner is usually the safest because he's usually the bruiser, and he's a little bit tankier, and he can actually just push and survive in case they do jump on him a little bit, if he's not like, you know, disengaging soon enough. Whereas if like you have like the ADC pushing a lane, you want him in your team fights. So I feel like the applying pressure on multiple lanes is more of a responsibility for the top laner in most situations. But yeah, so anyways, so that's pretty much it. I don't know if I've covered everything. Hopefully I did. Top lane's a pretty straightforward role. If you just want to basically finish your laning phase, get the kills that you can, and then start doing team fights and start doing objectives with your team. And then, especially if you have comms, you want to just work with your team and get things going in an efficient way from there on out. But anyways, there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this guide as well for top lane as well as Darius as far as the guide goes. I guess it's kind of like a mix between the two. I actually went into promos after this, and I ended up getting gold soon after this, so I was pretty excited about that. Darius, my boy, is getting me through the ranks and into gold, and hopefully into platinum soon. Apparently gold is sitting at like 3.47% of the population on the server. So if you're gold right now, you're doing pretty good. I mean, if you're doing like platinum, you're doing excellent because you're probably like the top 1%. But if you're gold or even close to gold, you're doing really well. And, you know, keep grinding. You guys will be fine. If you guys want more guides for specific heroes, I'll definitely get to them. If you guys like this series, leave a like, comment, and subscribe on the channel. We're getting a flood of people coming to the channel. I'm really excited about it. Obviously, you know, it's a channel. I want to grow it, and I want to build a community with you guys. And hopefully, once we start getting the NA stuff, we can start doing giveaways. And I think if I'm able to buy some of the champions here on the server for EU, I actually want to do a giveaway as well, maybe for like the new champions. So I think when they have the next update, if I'm still on EU, I definitely want to do a giveaway for that particular champion. And I think that'd be really cool. So if you guys are excited for that, let me know. If you guys just want to do like you know, some streams as well, I can definitely do that. I'm trying to fix my setup here for streaming. It's just, if you guys have been to my stream, it's not been good. The experience is subpar. The frames are dropping. I don't know what's going on with my computer. It should be more than enough horsepower to get through these streams, but for whatever reason, it's just not working. I think it's just my setup's wrong, and I'll have to like work out the kinks. But anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this guide. And I know I said it's going to be a Zed or a Draven next, but I didn't get around to it. I'm having problems with Draven, okay? He is really, really hard to play. He has a really, really high skill cap. And I played like, I don't know, maybe 10 matches with him. And I'm like, I'm just not performing well. Like, God, it's really hard. It's just, I think part of it is because I do have a delay. So it does make, you know, catching those axes difficult. And I'm getting older now, so like the responsive times on my second ability is not quite there either. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. More to come. And leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And let's see if we can get this one to 200 likes as well, because that'll be freaking awesome. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Later!